college student created a Lego version of herself to send out as a resume. It's not an April Fool's joke. It's coming up today on CNN Student News. First up, though, we're taking you to the Korean Peninsula. North and South Korea haven't been involved in open conflict since 1953, when an armistice ended the fighting in the Korean War. But yesterday, they were exchanging fire, not on land, but at sea. The North sent a fax yesterday warning its southern neighbor that it would be doing live fire exercises, meaning military exercises with actual weapons. This is the first time in recent years that North Korea has had these kinds of drills, and South Korea called it a hostile threat. It said some North Korean shells landed in South Korean waters, so it responded by firing back again into the sea and sending fighter jets to patrol the area. North Korea often provokes its neighbors by firing rockets and missiles into the ocean around the Korean Peninsula. The United Nations is telling Japan to stop a yearly whale hunt. Since 2005, there's been a Japanese program that's captured hundreds of whales off the coast of Antarctica. Commercial whaling is illegal, but there's a loophole in the law that allows whaling for scientific research, and Japan says its Antarctic program is for science. The International Court of Justice says that program is now banned, that there's been more killing than scientific discovery. The ruling will not prevent Japan from hunting whales in other places, and smaller scale whaling by individuals is often allowed. But some Japanese say they're being unfairly singled out, that whaling in general is Japanese tradition and that it should be respected as long as the whales aren't endangered.
Is this legit? An estimated 65% of the world's population has access to the internet. Not legit. The CIA estimates there are just over 2 billion internet users worldwide, or about 30% of the global population.
And more than half of those with internet access use Facebook. More than 1 billion people. Last year, Facebook's founder controversially called internet access a human right. And while that's debatable, Facebook is hoping to get people connected in places where they're not, increasing both the number of people online and potentially the number of people on Facebook.
Imagine it, for the first time in history, humanity firing on all cylinders.
Facebook is taking to the skies in an effort to bring the internet to the world, turning its attention to unmanned aircraft or drones and satellites to reach the roughly 5 billion who can't get the internet. CEO Mark Zuckerberg explained the vision to CNN's Chris Cuomo last August.
Here, we use things like Facebook to share news and catch up with our friends, but they're going to use it to decide what kind of government they want, get access to healthcare for the first time ever, connect with family hundreds of miles away that they haven't seen in decades. Getting access to the internet is a really big deal.
Internet.org is Facebook's effort to bring together the world's biggest tech companies to find a way to reach people with no access to the internet. But first, Facebook has to figure out how to use this technology to reach those people, many of whom live in underdeveloped places in Asia and Africa. Zuckerberg says the company has hired experts from NASA and UK-based Ascenta, the developer of the longest-flying solar-powered drones, to help. Facebook's Yale Maguire says satellites are constantly on the move, so you have to figure out a way to capture the information from each one of them while they're passing over a specific place. Solar-powered unmanned aircraft can offer a solution in less populated areas.
So we're looking at a new type of plane architecture that flies at roughly 20,000 meters, 20 kilometers, because that's the point where the winds are the lowest, it's above commercial airlines, it's even above the weather, and actually can stay in the air for months at a time. And these planes are solar powered, and they sit there and they just circle around, and they have the ability to just broadcast internet down, but significantly closer than a satellite does.
Facebook says its motives are altruistic, internet for all. But others point out that universal online access also opens up a world of new potential Facebook customers. Relitsa Vasilova, CNN.
Forget internet, today's roll call mascots are going old school, as in medieval legend old school. We'll start with some dragons. Welcome to Gretna High School. Glad you're watching in Gretna, Nebraska. Next we have the Lancers. Good to see you at Longfellow Middle School in Falls Church, Virginia. And how about the Black Knights? They're up at Syracuse, New York on the roll at Henninger High School. Certain wind turbines are like giant three-bladed fans. When the wind spins their blades, they can generate renewable, clean energy. They do make noise, which bothers some people, and they're known to kill birds at wind farms. The U.S. is building several wind farms offshore. Scientists think they can survive weaker hurricanes. A Stanford professor says they could actually weaken hurricanes, though the number of turbines that would take may not be feasible.
Hurricane season won't begin in the Atlantic Basin until June 1st, but the South Pacific storm season is in full swing. At any point in time, in fact, 'tis the season for hurricanes, typhoons, or cyclones somewhere in the world. With winds up to an astounding 190 miles per hour, fierce storms can dump more than 2.4 trillion gallons of rain in a day. At this point, the world really has nothing to defend against nature's fury. But a Stanford study says there may be something that could stand in a hurricane's way, quite literally. It's not some brand new technology or hypothetical machine I'm talking about. It's wind turbines. According to the study, large numbers of wind turbines could slow down the outer winds of the hurricane, decrease wave heights, and cause it to dissipate faster. The authors say 78,300-foot turbines off the coast of New Orleans could have reduced Hurricane Katrina's wind speeds by as much as 98 miles per hour by the time they reached land and decreased storm surge by an incredible 79%. Considering the billions of dollars of destruction a single storm can cause, a solution that provides renewable energy, pays for itself, and saves lives.
April is Financial Literacy Month, and if you're planning on pursuing higher education, we're planning a glossary of terms to help you understand what to expect, especially as a lot of you are in the application process right now. Today's term, cost of attendance, or COA. It's not just tuition, it's the actual amount you'll be paying each year at college once you add in living expenses, books, transportation, and other stuff that comes up. So while in-state tuition at a public school in Georgia, for example, is around $10,000 per year, once you throw in your dorm room, a 7-day meal plan, books, and other expenses, your COA jumps up to $22,000 a year. So it's important to look and plan beyond tuition if you're planning to go to college away from home. It started as a science fair project. 14-year-old Suvir Merchandani found that printer ink costs more per ounce than Chanel No. 5 perfume, so he focused on ways to use less of the ink.
My research led me to conclude that the government could save almost $234 million simply by switching to that one font. That's because the font is thinner, it's lighter, it just simply uses less ink. Just simply looking at it, you wouldn't be able to tell that it actually saves 30% of ink costs. So those were my conclusions.
So for state and federal governments using the Times New Roman font on printouts, Suvir says the switch to the lighter Garamond font would use less ink, saving a total of $400 million a year. But Garamond's a smaller font, so some critics say it'd be less legible at the same size. And they say the government pays for ink differently, so the switch might not save that much, though it could save us a few bucks at home. Not a great job market for recent college graduates. How can they make themselves and their resumes really stand out? Here's one idea. Leah Bowman, a junior at Northwestern University, built herself in Legos. She used some computer programs, including Lego's free digital designer software for the resume, and she raided her dad's Lego collection to actually build herself brick by brick. The resume alone may not land her a dream job just yet, but to get an employer's attention, this idea is a blockbuster. Even if they see other colorful resumes, how are they going to let go of this one? It's instructive in good self-marketing. It builds on her creativity and talent. It leaves the competition in pieces. This block party's over. We'll put another show together for you on Wednesday. I'm Carl Azus.